All right, what's up, guys? We should be live. Let me see. Let's make sure this is live before I start talking again for a while and it no sound. Yep, that looks good. All right. As a reminder, here's my Twitter. Go ahead and follow me, interact with me, tweet at me. I haven't been as active recently. I haven't had a lot of time, and it also hasn't been too many things the Giants have made me excited about to go ahead and talk about. That's again why I haven't streamed in a while either. But there is one positive that we're going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about anything else. You know, reality is we're very bad right now, and I still hold optimism because I'm a fan, and I would hate to go through a 3-win season. So I still have the optimism there, but we are going to talk about Kadarius Toney today because he really is a positive of this team. If you look at you would say cornerstone pieces of this team that should be here for the next 4 or 5 years. I'm saying I really think Daniel showed me enough. That's one. Andrew Thomas has been playing great this year. That's two. Kenny Golladay is gonna be here for at least the next 3, so it's not really the next 4 to 5, but he's gonna be here, right? And then nobody else on the offensive line has showed enough. Shep is getting old; he'll be gone soon. You look at Saquon; that's really up in the air. He's going to command a lot of money, and we don't have cap space right now to extend him. It's going to really depend on what the roster construction and who the GM is coming in next year, because it really shouldn't be Dave Gettleman. It really shouldn't. We'll see what they go with. Unless they end up winning 7 games, going 7-10, then I can argue that Gettleman should stay. If we go 7-5 coming up here, which again is not unrealistic, but certainly not the way the team is looked now. The schedule does get lighter at the end of the season, but we don't want to be easy teams. We want to be the good teams, right? So you're looking at Daniel, you're looking at Andrew Thomas, and you're looking at Kadarius Toney, really, because then you got like the question that Kenny Golladay will be here for the next 3 years, and then nobody on that line. Evan Ingram will be gone, and then Saquon, it's up in the air. Would love to have a core of DJ, Saquon, KT, and Kenny Golladay going for the next 3-4 years. That would be fantastic. With Andrew Thomas solidified on the left side of that line, that would be great. We don't need to focus on weapons at all. We need to focus on that line, right? But those are the cornerstone pieces of the team. But we're going to talk about one who, aside from Saquon, probably has the highest ceiling. I think Saquon's still the athletic, the athletic potential right there is still off the charts. Again, injuries kind of hinder that potential, but still, healthy Saquon Barkley is, top 5 most dynamic players in the league. So we're gonna get Kadarius Toney here. I'm actually going to share something else, share a screen of my rankings that I did actually going into the draft. I had Kadarius Toney here as my number. I just did this in my free time. I was really bored. It was during COVID. So I had Kadarius Toney here as my number 5 or number 4 wide receiver, actually. And you go across, I graded him an 88. This is like my own scale. Like I kind of compared it with ESPN. I watched a decent amount of film, read a lot of draft reports, and this is how I compiled my my list. And I was very familiar with Kadarius Toney going into the draft. I really liked his player highlights. I liked the way he played. It was really exciting. And I felt physically he would hold up better than someone like Devonta Smith. And then, Jalen Waddle having the injuries that he had, that was obviously a concern as well. So, I still, would have taken these 3 receivers over Toney heading into the draft. But certainly Kadarius was on my radar, and I would have been really excited as if we picked at 11. I was still on board to pick at 11 and pick Rashawn Slater or Micah Parsons. would have been very on board with selecting him in the second round. After the draft, it sounded like he wouldn't have made it there, which is fortunate that we have him now because Jamar Chase obviously is the undoubted one of this draft class. You'd honestly still probably keep it in this order in terms of production so far. But Kadarius is, he's had the biggest game, 10 for 189. We're going to go into some of that film in a little bit. But 10 for 189 is the biggest game out of anybody on this list. And I think he's produced the most highlight-worthy plays out of all this list. Maybe Jamar, because Jamar has a lot of big touchdowns. But a lot of them are kind of just straight line burning the defender, which again is he's the one of this class undoubtedly. I have him in fantasy. He's been killing it for me. I have Kadarius Toney too, but Jamar has been killing it. But in terms of exciting, I think Kadarius has definitely shown that he's not just this gadget guy. He's a complete receiver, and that he absolutely can be a very good player in this league. So if you go look at so he's an 88 overall, right? And the lowest ranking I had for him was his physicality. It was 6 because he wasn't really that physical in college. But you watch him play right now, and he fights for those extra yards. He's shifty, but then when people get hands on him, he fights for it. When he's going out of bounds, he'll lower the shoulder and bump you a little bit further, a couple, that half yard. He does that. So if I went and bumped that up to an 8 right there and reordered this list, right? He's now the number 3, right behind Devonta Smith, ahead of Jalen Waddle. Right, and I still think that's accurate. I think Devonta would be really good. I think Jamar Chase. I think these 4 are pretty much guaranteed to do well. They're all in situations where they can do well. I think Toney's in the worst situation of them, because of the play calling of Jason Garrett. But it sounded like they were really going to use him in week 6 before he got hurt. So maybe that turns out to be a positive. Whoever the next coach is, absolutely will be a positive for him. He's going to be the focal point of that offense, especially if Saquon's gone. So where do I see Kadarius at? I think the human joystick nickname had been given to him. That's previously Dante Hall. Listen, he obviously hasn't showed enough to be in that conversation. But he certainly has the ceiling for it. I think you see the burst, you see the twitchiness, you see the explosiveness, and the physicality and the route running. And then the only question so far has been his hands. He does have a couple drops, and I think they're more of concentration drops than a physical issue. I think there were a couple times in the Saints game where he was ready to just take off and go, and I think if you look that ball in and you go, then it's a really big play waiting to happen. But you just got to focus in more on that. But I've seen a lot of people with comparisons because it's kind of hard to compare him because there's really not a receiver like him in the league right now. Like he ran a high 40. I think he ran in the 4.3s. It was either high 4.3s or low 4.4s, I believe. And that's obviously fast. It's fast straight line, but he's not as fast as Tyreek Hill, but I'd say he's shiftier than Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill runs around people, right? Tyreek Hill is, more physical. Tyreek Hill's a running back that's really fast and runs really good routes. Kadarius isn't really like that. His jukes, I'd say, are pretty much comparable to I hate saying this because it's gonna sound like crazy, but his agility and the way he jukes people out is right behind I'd say Lamar Jackson. I really do think that. Like, who is making that quick of cuts? Like, name somebody for me. Like, actually, I can't. I can't name him. The way he cuts is like a bigger version of Darren Sproles, almost like the in and out. The quick cut, the one step to gone. Right. People compare him to Odell, but I think that's more of the excitement factor. I really don't think they're similar of receivers. I think they're both really exciting. And as a Giants fan, he's the closest we've had to him, but we've also had a really terrible receiving core. So I think it's pretty unfair to compare him to Odell because, Odell was on pace to become, the best receiver ever after his first 3 years, right? And obviously it hasn't panned out since then. But, Toney has a lot to go before he starts actually drawing those comparisons. But in terms of excitingness as a Giants fan, it's Odell than Kadarius, right? But yeah, I think about like Darren Sproles, Tariq Cohen, that kind of really small agility. He's a little bit bigger. He's taller than both those guys. I imagine Sproles and Cohen probably both weigh a little bit more. They're definitely more built. But he's certainly that type of explosive, agile athlete. And it sucked that we haven't seen him in the return game with CJ Board breaking his arm, actually. Kadarius has to be second in line right there, unless you're going to make Jabril or John Ross return. You're not going to make Jabril return kicks. Jabril can still take punts because CJ Board have been taking kick returns and punt returns, right? So if Jabril steps into the punt return role, does Kadarius get the kick return role, or does that go to John Ross per se? Maybe Gary Brightwell, right? One of the backup running backs. Hope it goes to KT because you get to see him in the open space, and that'll guarantee him a couple touches a game because we get scored on a lot. So we'll be receiving a lot of kicks. So even if Jason Garrett doesn't, throw him the ball, he'll at least be able to touch the ball on these kickoff returns. Obviously, would be our best option there. The only thing you worry about, obviously, is him getting injured, which he's currently injured right now. But hey, you never know. You never know how serious this is. He had the same injury. He was cleared to play, and then it re-aggravated him on the turf. What is another thing? A lot of people are getting hurt on this MetLife turf. They were last year. They continue to this year. From all the evaluators, the turf checks out. But obviously something, we either have a curse or, they really need to rip up this whatever is there and put something else down. Because it's not working. It's not working. It's not healthy. So let's get into some of the wrong screen. Let's get into some of the highlights. I'm just going to show the highlights of the Dallas game because that's really his best game. That's the wrong thing. No, wrong thing. There we go. Let's make this here. All right, so this is the screenplay here. Just to start off, I want to point something out here. This could be a 15-yard play. Let me mute this. Look at this. There are two defenders right here. Matt Parrott is on one. Will Hernandez on the other. You got Billy Price about to split the middle right here. And that guy's the closest dude. Number whatever that is, all the way over there. That's 10 yards this way, like 8 yards that way. He catches this, and he's at least here before he gets touched, and that's if Billy Price doesn't get him. That should be a 15, 20-yard pass play for KT right there. But hey, if that's Saquon, it's probably hopefully a good play. But here we go in the second play. Second reception, I guess. This is just kind of absurd, right? You see this play breaks down. DJ's like, KT down there somewhere. He might get away with a little bit of a push off here, if we're being honest, right? But just the ability to the concentration right here. We talk about, mentioned some concentration drops. This was obviously not one of those. Just the ability to, go get that ball. is something, a receiver that we need. Just the ability to go get it. And that's something that Kenny Galladay is supposed to be able to do. But KT's showing he can do it as well. Third play here, runs a little just out route. Got that quick separation, 3-4 yard play. Nothing special there, but again, we don't get a lot of separation. Got a drag here for the first down. I think it's been something that has to be mentioned. I forget what the stat is. I might have tweeted it on my Twitter. But he's got like half of his receptions are first downs. Like he's a reliable third down guy. And that's really good to see because we need to convert. And then you see this play right here. This was, I think, the highlight play of the game. You see 3 defenders, 3 circling him. He runs a little zig essentially and plants. Again, third and 4. He just can catch this, and that's a great play. He gets open, gets the first down. Has the awareness to just say, oops, I know these guys are coming in this way. I'm just going to juke right back to the middle and take off. And you see, watch this burst of speed right there. That's top end speed. That's not just agility right there. That's see hole, go through hole. Look at how he eats up ground right there, and he's one broken tackle away from having his first touchdown, and was obviously a great play. On the next one, this is where he cooked Trayvon Diggs. And listen, I really don't understand. Troy Aikman on that broadcast said Trayvon Diggs was like Deion Sanders. Like, come on. I think credit where credit is due. Trayvon is a ball hawk. If he was on our team, I would love to have him on our team. He's a ball hawk, very opportunistic, but he's also like on pace to allow some of the most yards ever. Like he's a gambler essentially. That's why his picks are so high. He's also had some really easy interceptions. Like the interception he had against us, if Mike Glennon didn't have a noodle arm, CJ Ward was walking into the end zone realistically. Just go back and watch that play if you disagree. CJ had him beat by 5 yards, and then Mike Glennon underthrew him by 5 yards, so it was an easy pick. But yeah, Kadarius essentially runs a deep zig. He's over here. He comes like this. He, jets in and then jets back out about 10 yards down the field, 15 yards down the field. And then this is another example of his speed, right? Trayvon's right there. That's if he takes it. Trayvon takes a decent angle right here, right? Trayvon's like, I'm gonna push you out of bounds, and Toney just runs right by him for another 10, 15 yards. That's speed. Again, screen, 1st and 10. See, when I talk about how I graded his physicality the lowest, just like a play like this, for example, he gets a screen, there's really nothing there, but he puts that stiff arm out there, and he doesn't try to jump out of bounds. He doesn't try to make a cut. He put his head down and went forward. You think of, something that you criticize Saquon for is he tries to make the big play too much. He doesn't just put his head forward and go down. Kadarius is a much smaller, less built athlete than Saquon is, but he's putting his head down and going forward. And I think that definitely says a lot about his competitiveness and that he's a really great football player. Again, this is another thing showing his physicality. This is a ball that should be going to Kenny Galladay. This is a ball that should be going to somebody big, but that's the trust that Mike Glennon had in Kadarius right here. Just high points this ball. Let's pause at the high point. He just goes up and gets it. That's it. He just is like, he's that guy. He really is. You see, he got hurt on this play, which obviously wasn't very good. I really like how we use him this game. We use him really great. See again, lowering the shoulder right there. He was our only option. Look at this. He didn't step out of bounds. He put his shoulder down and got the extra couple yards. He's more physical than I think he's given credit for. And hopefully that doesn't reflect his injuries. His injuries have been kind of freak. like the play where he got injured when he high pointed the ball, when he stepped out of bounds, his foot was like planted, and then the dude landed on the back of it and kind of like smushed his foot. That's nothing he did wrong. The guy just landed on his foot. With the ankle, I guess that could be something. That could be an issue. But it sounds like he just re-aggravated it in this last game. But then we see him in the wild card here. This was really great to see, him being used like this. I think it'll be, I really look forward to, 2-3 weeks from now, if we can please have Andrew Thomas healthy, so Daniel Jones has time to throw. We play a not so good of a defense. Listen, I'm tired of moral victories, but I'll honestly take a moral victory over what we had against the Rams. And having Kadarius Toney throw a screen to Saquon Barkley will absolutely make my year. It will be fantastic. RPO with Saquon and Kadarius Toney. Like, who are you looking at right there? Like, Devontae Booker, it's like, okay. But Saquon and KT, that would be crazy. And this is another one. You see the burst right there and the physicality. He could have tried to, like, juke that outside. But Micah Parsons made a really good play, screaming across the field, and was able to spin him away from the goal line. It was a better play by Micah Parsons. It was a great play by Micah Parsons that prevented that touchdown, because you see Micah right here, number 11. If Micah doesn't get hands on right here, KT's going in like that, because you got whoever this is. It might be Billy Price or Nate Solder, who's pushing down on this guy. KT is getting right in there, right like that. And if Micah Parsons isn't able to swing him away, he's scoring. So that was a great play by Micah Parsons. And I think this might be his last reception. See this again. Look at the physicality. Oh, that wasn't it. That's not the play I'm talking about. I mean, second down, he gets a first down. There's a little out, and then zoom around Trayvon Diggs. Like, what is he doing? Like, he's lost. Like, Trayvon Diggs couldn't cover Kadarius Toney that day. This is the play, gets hurt. Listen, first down, makes a couple man miss, but then eventually puts his head down and powers forward. Obviously, that ended in the fight, which is not something you want. He came out, he apologized for it. He took full responsibility of it. And it's just a heat of the moment thing. They're getting their ass beat, and he's out there competing. He got thrown down. His teammate defends him. His teammate gets shoved. He's defending his teammate. Probably should have gone with a shove instead of a punch, because a punch is guaranteed ejection. Should have just walked away. But hey, not everybody's perfect, right? You're not going to make the right decision every time. But as long as he doesn't make it again, that's the really important thing. So that's really all I want to touch on. I just wanted to talk about, how really special a player he can be. I think like my comparison is a wide receiver version of like a Darren Sproles. I think Darren Sproles was a gadget player. He was a running back, kick returner, and he was really good catching balls out of the backfield. I think that's something that Kadarius could be, but more of the wide receiver version, right? Darren Sproles was the halfback version, but Kadarius Toney is the wide receiver version of Darren Sproles, if that makes sense. But obviously I think, I could say the sky's the limit for him. I think he could be a better player than Darren Sproles ever was. Darren Sproles never was like a really elite player. He was, no, Darren Sproles was elite. I'll take that back. Darren Sproles was an elite player for a period of time. He really was probably underappreciated. But I think KT has those attributes. As long as he, keeps his cool, continues to progress as a football player and a person off the field, I think there's no reason that he can't be here for the next, 5, 6, 7 years and be a productive player to whoever quarterback we have. Hopefully it's Daniel Jones. This is definitely the most explosive player Daniel's been able to, throw a ball to out of the wide receiver position for sure. He never got to throw a ball to Odell. I would have loved to see that, but we got this, and, hopefully it works out for the better. So that's going to end the stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to comment, give me any suggestions, like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.